Hi everybody, I'm Vicki Harchick from the Garden Club of Mansfield, and we're here today to learn about pruning trees and shrubs. And with us we have Mr. Tim Ramey from Taunton to give us a little lesson on that.
And this is my mascot, Buddy. He's a Labrador. Yeah, and I'm a certified arborist and horticulturist, and I've been doing landscape design as well for many, many years. So today we're going to be pruning a Rose of Sharon shrub. Different methods of pruning. When we prune, we always want to prune with intent and find out, depending on what the plant is, how big it is, the time of year. Because this isn't in leaf and it's really, the shrub's really going crazy on us, we're going to really take it back hard, real hard, and I'm going to scare some people. But because of the type of shrub it is and when it flowers, it's not going to look that pretty for a couple of months, but afterwards when it leaves out, it's going to leaf out a lot. It's going to send out a lot of suckers, and it's going to be blooming like crazy by probably late July and August into September. Okay, so we're going to do the pruning, but I'm going to start off on taking the sides in quite a bit this way and down. As you can see, it's really top heavy on this side because it's following the sun. This side's it's a little weak. That corner's got a large hole in it. So I'm going to really start taking it down and in quite a bit. Okay, so do not try this at home. You have to call me first. The first thing I'm going to do is go after dead wood or decayed wood. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to go after any branches that are touching each other. One or the other has to go. Then I'm going to go after branches that are really too close, and then I'm going to take the sides in, and then I'm going to take the top down. So it really depends on a tree. You would start off by the same method: dead wooding any stubs, rubbing branches that are too close, and then depending on the condition of the tree, you do crown. Is it a crown thinning? You're going into the crown and thinning it. Whether it's dead wood, live wood, are you crown raising it to get it off the ground to allow more sun in the garden or the lawn? Are you doing a crown reduction from the top down? Usually if it's getting to the wires or you get a bad hurricane or whatnot. And then you do crown containment where you take the sides in. Sometimes you have to do all four out of 4 or 5 out. Sometimes it's just a quick little thinning, and so it really depends on what you're looking for architecturally and arboriculture. This plant, it's more like structural corrective pruning, and then by August this thing's gonna shine. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get in here, and if you can see this lower limb right here, this is rubbing here, and it's decaying. So I'm going to get in here and really cut this down real low as I can go. I'm trying not to, he'll take care of that. Now, I'm going to take this whole branch right out, and the reason being, because see all the decay in here? You have a lot of rot and saprophytic growth in here. So if this was healthy, I'd probably cut it down to here and here. But I'm going to take this whole thing out because it's very, very diseased. There's a lot of perennials here. Bleeding hearts, you got lamium, you've got linaria, oenothera. So if it was wintertime, it would be cold and dormant. So I'm going to try to be very sensitive to the perennials. So I'm just going to get some weight off here for now, and I'm going to take this out. As long as I don't hit you. Okay, you see this? You can see this is unfortunate. I had decay in here. So can someone take those branches out right there? Oh, he's got it. He's going to be more famous than me. So again, I will show you the decay on this. You can see the rot real close here. Oh jeez. If you can show show that to the camera. Buddy, sit. All right, all right. And that's, everyone loves Buddy. As you notice, this thing is really leaning this way. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cut this back right to here. And back like this. Let me just show you for a minute. Well, actually, this is rotted too. I have to cut, I'm going to cut this back in here. Now, I wasn't going to take it that far back, but the reason I'm taking it really far back, as you can see right here, it's got like a large canker, it's got some dead wood, so I'm going to get very aggressive with this. Okay, here you go. So what I'm doing right now, I'm trying to cut it back. If you can see this bud right here, those little bumps, that will be a bud, and that's going to shoot out like this. I'm going to cut right to here, to that flower bud, right there. This one's rubbing. I'm going to cut it out like right to here, get rid of that rubbing. And maybe I'll cut back this one right here. I'm going to cut this one way back because this is really starting to lean over the deck. I'm going to probably come up around here for now. Okay. Again, I'm going right to anytime you make a cut, you want to try to cut to a lateral, which means a bud or a branch. So if you look right here, there's the bud. So that bud's going to come out like this, and it will come out in this direction. Whether I'm cutting rose bushes, trees, or anything, it's the same method. Sometimes you don't see buds, and you have to just do the best you can. So this one here, I'm going to cut back right here. That one there. I'm going to cut this one off right to the base. Okay. And also, if you want to water this, especially during a drought, the budding and the suckering will happen much better, much quicker by watering it. Because sometimes we can go through these droughts and they're very, very severe. Okay, so this one here is really hanging over here. So I'm really gonna get severe on this. I'm gonna cut it back just like this, like that. Now, usually if this was an ornamental tree, I wouldn't do this type of pruning. Because this is a shrub, you can do this type of pruning on it. Okay, now right here, I'm gonna cut that back to another lateral because it's really reaching over. Here's another rubbing limb right here. So one or the other has to go. Again, I'm going to cut this back right to here. Okay. And okay, see how this is rubbing right here? So I'm going to cut this one. And it's almost rubbing down here. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to take this one right out. I'm just going to check this here. I'm going to take this one right out. Okay. So for a long time, this was rubbing against this. And you don't want that. Cut a couple of dead stubs here. So I'm going to cut this one right down to this lateral. Okay, we'll get rid of that. And now this one here, I'm going to cut back right to here, to this bud right here. Take that out. And now we got this one left. I'm going to take that one back there at a slight angle. So again, this is going to look like this for probably about a month or so. It's ugly, right? What a horrible job. But again, this is a shrub, so this should be probably about this tall and loaded with new shoots and leaves by June, early June, and it'll start setting buds by late June, early July, and it'll explode with flower color by late July, August. Okay? So we got a lot of thinning. We did a lot of thinning here. We cut it back this way. We thinned it, we raised it, we got rid of the deadwood, the rubbing branches, and see the equal space in between the branches? Well, pretty much. None of them are touching each other. Okay, so this is called a renovation of shrubs, old shrubs, like, you know, things like lilacs, privet, wigelia bushes. I would only do this type of pruning on a shrub between probably February and maybe around mid-late May. After that, I wouldn't do it until the following spring. You know, you could cut back some live growth after it flowers, you know, more of a summer pruning. But when you get in this type of intensive renovational pruning, like roses, vines, old privets, this is a great time of year to do it. Actually, I do quite a bit of this in March because everything's completely dormant. Nothing's even budded yet. And you really want to go there and really go to town. Old rhododendrons that have borers in them or they're overgrown like this here. I could still do that right now, that large rhododendron, because it hasn't opened bud yet. You got to sacrifice the flowers. Now, if I was just to do some summer pruning and get it down a little bit and people want to wait for the flowers, I could do that. But if I'm really gonna hit that back hard to bring it back to scale, I'd have to sacrifice the flowers this year. So it'd be very woody, and by June it will start flushing out new growth and setting buds by July for the following year. So it really depends on the plant, the time of year, the size of the plant. It really depends on what you're trying to do. Lilacs too. Now, well, again, it depends. Like lots of times, people like to cut the old flowers off of lilacs. You can do that. If I find if it's a young plant or if it's a newly planted plant, it's good to take the seed heads off. If it's an established plant, you can if you want to. You don't have to, because there's a lot of heads and that thing's like 12, 14 feet high. But if it's a new plant, I would, rhododendrons, you know, try it. If it's newly transplanted, you want to take the old growth off. Now, if I wanted to, let's say that particular plant had scale on it, had a lot of busted branches, a lot of decay in it, had borers in it. I would go in there and really thin it out, take it down really hard, and by midsummer it'll flush out a lot of new growth, and by the following year it'll start flowering again. I've done lilacs older than that, where I took the entire thing completely down, I've stumped it right to the ground. Like right, it was so bad because it had so much decay in it. It had so many borer infestations in it. It was struggling for years. So I took the thing right down to the ground, pulled a lot of soil away from it because people have a tendency to overplant and overmulch. So the air and sun were getting to the roots because they're very shallow rooted. And as soon as I did that, the thing just sucked it like crazy. And usually lilacs will flower on 2 or 3 year wood. So a couple of years, you're gonna have a shrub about this high, full of leaves and loaded with flowers. So that was a complete renovation. I had to go real low because as I was cutting it, I was seeing decay and borer infestations up at 3 or 4 feet. So I kept going low until I hit fresh wood. The time I hit fresh wood, I was at the ground level, but I had to start over. So it really depends on the condition of the plant's in too. Azalea's the same. If you got a lot of dead wood and decay in your azaleas, or you got borers and they're dead wood, you just got to take them out. Yeah, if your front window's up here and the azalea is way up here and you want to scale it down and you want to take it down hard, this is the time of year to do it. To cut it back hard, and or you can do it right after flowering because they flower early, and then let them flush out again. One thing you don't want to do is this type of pruning late fall or winter, because you come out in the spring, you might not see a living plant, like butterfly bushes. I see it all the time. People cut them in the fall. Even old forsythia is tough as that. Why would you cut it back? Well, I cut it back in November. And they take a sting, especially last winter. We lost a lot. Hydrangeas, roses, they took such a bite because there were open cuts. They went into the winter and they got blasted. Thanks for coming again on this beautiful day. And again, this is a Rose of Sharon that we pruned back hard because we want to renovate the plant completely. And the next year's pruning will be very different than this year. So again, this is Tim Ramey. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thanks for being with us.
All right.
Bye.